What's up YouTube? Today we're going to look at this Mugen Super Athlete, one of the pioneers of the Rallycross era. Legends Mugen, same company who were into F1 and a lot of Honda tuning. This is one of their earliest creations. We're going to have a quick look through it. First, let's get the weight. That's 3338 grams. And we've got a wheelbase of 315 and a track width of 297, 298. So yeah, classic 1/8 Rallycross dimensions, quite a short wheelbase, and we'll compare the weights to some modern vehicles later. So let's look into it. Firstly, we've got this mid reverse mounted engine. The engine's pointed backwards compared to cars today, but it's right smack bang in the middle of the chassis, which I'm sure was their aim. Oddly though, they've got that in the middle and close to the centre, but you've got your tank hanging off the side. So I'm not sure if when laden that gave you that. Well, it doesn't feel like it. Look, my fingers are in the middle and they're still tilting to that side, so if it was still full of fuel, it's probably going to be a bit heavy on that side, and they had all this void space here to put it in. Another odd feature is that you can see that's the centre and the drive shaft offsets to the right of centre here. So you lose a bit of power whenever you don't have direct drive. So you're losing a bit of that. You've got this void space and it's to accommodate this servo mounting, but that also could have been mounted differently or longitudinally, and you could have had a straight drive shaft. So I'm not sure what they did with that, what they were trying to achieve, why. You've got one differential at the back, only the one disc brake here, so you don't have a bias front and rear, just one. And it looks to be alloy casing with a steel ring spur gear that bolts to the alloy casing. Incidentally, the engine in here is a Novarossi 3.5, which is turning over and with compression. Not too much compression, but oh, it's got a bit. It's got a bit. So we'll see how that runs later, because that seems like he'll fire right up. So as we're onto that servo mounting, this is your steering. These are weedy control arms from back in the day. How many jumps did they land accurately and survive? And a lot of play in the steering, which is really common in early systems. However, the setup with your two bell cranks and the arms or a plate joining the two is still very much what's in use today. And that's what we'll see throughout this car, is the innovation and design back in 1980, or I think late 70s, this was designed and came out. We see throughout RC car history 40 years later using the same designs, and they may have refined them, but by and large it's the same designs and even the same materials in use. So quick look down the hole again. You see these flutes in the chassis. They look to be CNC'd machined there to save weight but maintain that longitudinal rigidity. Right, front end, nice big bumper. I love their big bumpers back in the day. There's a lot of bumping and shunting. And you've got what wasn't back then but is considered now a conventional double wishbone arrangement, with a lower wishbone, upper wishbone, your shock mounting, quite an angle here, so you get that progressive rate, which is quite good actually. You got a lot of it's quite soft for that small bump compliance, and then the rate ramps up because of the angle of the shock as it compresses. You can also see here quite a lot of bump steer occurring as I move through the travel. That wheel turning, that's bump steer in action. That's why it messes you up, that's why we don't want it. Pretty conventional steering knuckle and early type universal shaft, a dog bone on the end, and this, what's come to be standard front differential arrangement. Wonder what that vertical pin does there. Not sure what the idea is behind that. Be good to look that up. Right, onto the back end. Very familiar looking arrangement again. Double wishbone, big lower one, upper one, your pivot pins. Very conventional anti-roll bar layout. What's this in the way? Well, I keep saying conventional, but the cars like this is what set the convention, and it's conventional now. But back then, it was a revolutionary and you know, the pinnacle of suspension design. I think RC back then also was a great era to be testing these concepts out before they made it through to automotive, or they would filter directly down from series such as Formula 1 and make it to RC cars, because it was a way of putting it into action and getting a lot of testing done. This threaded type of damper as well, oil filled piston inside and the shaft there, very much in use today. And for some of the younger viewers, hard to believe, isn't it? 40 years ago on an RC this is how it was. Now bear in mind this was like the top RC, one of the most expensive kits available at the forefront of it, but that's just what you see today, knocking about every other one. There's your differential type thing, quite light weights in these diffs, but not too dissimilar to the feel of that 757 or 875 setup you might run as standard in a rallycross buggy today. Here as well you can see a substantial brace for that rear bulkhead, and we don't have too much bracing at the front, but the wide body steering posts and that piece does give you a lot, so you can feel this is a very, very sturdy bit of kit, definitely made to take the abuse of rallycross, and I'm sure we'll be pretty good at it today, apart from that wobbly steering. Underneath, very standard looking stuff now, flat plate chassis, smooth, engine mounts in the middle, a hole for the flywheel and a hole for the spare. Forgot to mention the rear wing mount there, nice Howie mount wing with adjustable angle, some of the first adjustable angle aero we've seen on RC. Another forgot to mention, looks like possibly original tyres there, made in Japan, Mugen, and that wheel nut arrangement, how am I going to get that off? That's what Mugen were racing on back in the day. So this looks like it won't be take much to get it going. Try and get a running video for you once I can work out how to film them in enough detail that it's worth watching. But let me know what you think. Did you used to have one of these? Did you race one of these? You know someone who's got one sitting in an attic somewhere? If so, grab it, offer them money for it, get it out. Put it in the comments. Have you restored one? Is it sitting pretty on a shelf? Post a picture up. I'll update the video with anything you send me in. There it is, Mugen Super Athlete. Oh, we got to do a drop test. Look at that, lovely. 40 years old, look at that balance. Perfect. With the front going, the rear going down. Love it.